How are you feeling? How long have you been here?
3 months, May 17th.
And what brought you here?
That's difficult to answer.
I'm not clear. How is it that playing the piano for people has eventually resulted in your being here in the hospital?
That's difficult to answer.
is the end. There's a noise inside my head of crying people facing death. Is this the end? Is this the end? Oh, I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final genocide. What have we done to the world? What have we done to the world? I'm burning in the stone. There's no place to hide. I'm burning in the stone. This is the final sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Travel the world and the seven seas. Everybody's looking for something. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to get used by you. Some of them want to use you. Some of them want to be out you.
Won't anybody help us? What are we running for? When there's nowhere we can run to anymore. Can't afford to be innocent. Stand up and face the enemy. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible. And with the power of conviction, there is no sacrifice. It's a do or die situation. We will be invincible.
Who the fuck is Karlyn? She's just some sweet lady. She's like in a knitting. She does like a knitting stream. She's like a knitting YouTuber. She does knitting.
Can we grow up a little bit and
Alt
not
Girl
be
sent $200.
retarded?
Have you
Please.
seen the work of Karlyn Borysenko? Anti-commie cult leader and is obsessed with looking at what actual far-left communists are talking about and organizing today, infiltrating them. They infiltrated the universities, schools, media. She has the receipts to back it up. Primary source evidence. Infestation is dire and she calls Republicans idiots eating slop. Agree.
Thank you for the big super chat. Yeah, oh, I know Karlyn B. She's solid. She's funny. I
The
like
great
her.
noticer sent $200.
Literally.
So
not
it's,
Ian.
it's not because I haven't dangled my junk into the combat zone on purpose to get some camera footage, but that's the big part of what's the
Is
problem.
that what you call reporting?
Go
and live
under if
streaming?
you're going to do it.
Yeah,
go
seriously.
undercover. Otherwise, you're wearing a hunk of meat in a lion's den. Nick Shirley, I love you. Take care of yourself, man. Karlyn Borysenko went undercover. Do stuff like that. Like if you want to expose this thing, don't pariah.
But
Please.
Ian, here's and I agree with you to an extent.
What's up, everyone? How's it going? Have you guys recovered from the weekend spectacular of streaming? I have barely recovered from the weekend spectacular of streaming. And let me tell you guys what. I don't know if some of you are going to be able to handle this particular week. You know what? Listen, my birthday worked out on exactly the most perfect day because this weekend, you guys donated 700 new channel memberships to the stream to the channel. That's 700 new people that get access to Spy Stream that didn't have it before. And actually, if you count in Fridays, I think we actually hit like almost 1,000 new channel members in a 3-day period. And it was really, 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 really good timing because we potentially have at least one Spy Stream every single day this week. Every single day. We have one tonight. We have one tonight around 7:15. We have a potential of 3 tomorrow. 1 in the afternoon and 2 in the evening. 3. We have Wednesday. Let me tell you guys about Wednesday. Let me tell you guys about Wednesday. Are you guys fucking ready? Hey, Lisa, old granny, thank you so much for the super chat. Okay, I'll count that towards memberships. I will. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You know, I don't know if I'm going to do a membership goal today just because you guys were so generous over the weekend, but we'll keep a tally. We'll keep a tally. Maybe I'll change it into a goal. Maybe I won't. But let me tell you guys about Wednesday. I just found out today about a 2-day Spy Stream. Guys, this is the moment that we have been training for. There is a 2 full day Spy Stream on Wednesday and on Thursday. Well, more like a day and a half. It's like the first day is a full day and the second day is a half day. Now, for people who are new to the channel, you may never have done a full fucking day Spy Stream with us. Okay? And these are the moments that we train for. These are the moments where we sit on our asses and we watch a full fucking day of socialist presentations. Back to back to back to back. We have done this before for like up to 12 hours at a time. We will just sit there and have a 12+ hour fucking Spy Stream, and then we will get up and we'll do it again the next fucking day. And so and the one that we have coming up on Wednesday, I mean, I'm not going to say they have in their terms of service that they might try to charge me with a crime if I record it, but they might have that. Good luck, I guess. Good luck. So is it like Queer Rope? Yes, it's very much like Queer Rope. Yeah, it is. So here's the thing, and I just want to manage everyone's expectation. I just want it it's like the librarian conference. Yeah, it's like the librarian conference. That's what we're doing on Wednesday. It's like the librarian conference. That's exactly right. I don't have the links for all of these things yet. I've got the links for some of them. Some of them I don't have the links yet. But it's not uncommon for me not to have the links because sometimes they wait until the very last minute to send them out. So that's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes. So we're taking a little chance, but this might be the most potentially Spy Stream heavy week that we've ever had. Oh, by the way, there's also a Spy Stream on Friday. I think there's one on Friday. There's one on Saturday. And there's one on Sunday. So when I am telling you guys, we have the potential to have at least one Spy Stream every single day this week, I mean, we have the potential to have a Spy Stream almost like every single day for the next 7 and actually potentially 8 days. 8 days. 8 days, because there's also there's 2 spy streams scheduled for next Monday. So if you just got gifted a channel membership over this past weekend and you're coming back to the channel and you're like, I haven't checked out this crazy bitch in a while. If you just got gifted a spy stream membership or a channel membership, or you just recently became a member on one of my other platforms because you like what I do and you want to see inside this stuff, there has been probably no better time to be a channel member and to be a supporter. If you want access to the behind the scenes stuff, if you want access to the organizing calls, and a very, 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 very rare, I do know what you're talking about, Melinda, a very, 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 don't say any more about that, Melinda, please. Like, snitches get stitches. A very, very rare multi-day spy stream. You guys are in for it this week. Who's ready to lose their sanity this week? Who's ready to fucking lose it? W Chicago! We appreciate you, bro. W's in the chat for gifted channel membership. Guys, like I said, you guys donated about 1,000 channel memberships over the last 3 days. And, normally when I do a class day like we're going to do today, I set a goal of 100 channel memberships. And I guess, you know what? We still can have kind of like a goal if you guys want to, if that's helpful to you. We can say, like, anytime I teach a class, I would love to get 100 new members of the channel. But what I will say is this. I'm starting to feel a little bit guilty about doing that because you guys just donated 1,000 channel memberships and that was really fucking awesome. And I was like blown away with the amount of super chats and channel memberships that got donated over my birthday extravaganza weekend. And so I personally, listen, I like, people call me a grifter all the time. Obviously, I want to make money for what I do. Obviously, I want to be able to pay my bills and spend all my time doing this. Obviously, I want to have a means to live well and buy luxury purses and things like that. And I'm not saying buy them directly from the store where I would spend thousands of dollars. I'm saying just buy a really nice one on the resale market for a couple $100. I'm not talking about extravagance. I'm talking about, like, maybe just a couple notches above something you get at Target or something like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying spending thousands of dollars. People are still getting on my ass. Ever since, like, do you guys understand? I have literally always collected this stuff. You guys didn't know about it until like a couple months ago, which is why it's new information. Like, Karlyn, like that luxury person. I've fucking always done this. Anyway. Yes, I want to be able to make enough money to pay my bills. Yes, I want to be able to make enough to have a little left over to buy some cool shit that I really like and enjoy. And we're going to be talking about some of that cool shit in a minute. But I actually do, like, at some point I start to feel kind of guilty. And I don't want you guys to think that, like, all I like you for is, like, all we're doing here is, like, gifting. Like, this is why I like the gifted channel memberships, because it gives someone something to the community. But, like, I'm actually starting to feel guilty about how much people donated this weekend. I'm like, oh my God. Because some people really dug deep. Some people donated like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And I just like, it was a new experience for me on the internet. Not that people haven't always been very generous on my birthday. Like, that's part of the fun of having a birthday stream, right? But like, I don't want to ask you guys for money right now, and I don't want to ask you guys for channel memberships, but I think it's awesome if you want to give channel memberships, and I think it's awesome if you want to support the community, and I do like keeping track of what's given. And of course, if you give out channel memberships, we'll do W's for you in the chat and all that stuff. And yeah, like, I got one guy to give $1,000 to the Center for Left Wing Studies. That's a good point. Ding, ding, ding. You guys are super generous. And I just want you to know how much I appreciate it. I want you to know how much I value it. And I want you to know I'm not just going to be banging down your door asking for money all the time. I try to provide way more value than I get from this. I try to do my best to provide you guys as much value as possible and things you can share out to the world. And sometimes even I'm like, okay, let's just like settle down a little bit. Let's settle down. I think it's because we love you and we love what you're doing, teaching. I appreciate that, Lisa O'Grady. I appreciate that very much. I appreciate it very much. So if you guys want to give channel memberships, that's awesome. We will celebrate you and thank you for it. And it is a great week to do it because literally for the next 8 days, we have the potential to have a spy stream, at least one, on every single day. All right? Today we're going to be doing class day. Today we are going to be talking about mutual aid. Because earlier today, I posted a video, obviously, as I'm prone to do. I posted a video kind of gloating about the fact that conservatives still haven't fucking figured out that there are going to be no RICO charges against Antifa, and conservatives still think that Trump is going to cut off the head of the funding snake and all this fucking bullshit, and they still haven't hinged into reality that Antifa is not funded by the CCP, Antifa is not funded by George Soros, Antifa is not funded by some foreign power that's pulling the strings and like all this bullshit. Antifa is funded by what, guys? What in the chat? Pop quiz in the chat. Antifa is, finish this sentence for me. Antifa is funded by what? Mutual aid. Mutual aid. Mutual aid. Ding, ding, ding over on Rumble says mutual aid. Average person with the super chat paying you the amount I paid for Dean Spade's book on mutual aid that I happened to find in the bookstore. That's really smart, average person, because we are going to be watching Dean Spade today. Appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. Today, we are going to be listening to Dean Spade, who is one of the trainers on the left that has written books about mutual aid funded by its supporters. That's right. Mutual aid means funded by the supporters. Mutual aid, mutual aid, mutual aid. It's like passing the collection plate at church. It's about small cash donations, donations of goods, donations of support, and all that good stuff. They are funded. They're funded by gayness and mutual aid. Okay, Adam. Okay, I'll accept it. I'll accept it as an answer. Mutual fucking aid. And the reason that Trump has not been able to bring RICO charges against Antifa, of course, is that he hasn't figured this out yet. And no one in the Trump administration has figured this shit out yet. And no one in the FBI seems to know about this, which I find personally to be a little gay and retarded. Since if I search for mutual aid, I get like 1 billion YouTube videos about mutual aid without even trying that hard. This is not something the left is secretive about. This is not something that the left is covert about. They're not like hiding, like, guys, we can't let the public know how we are funded. We have to keep it under wraps and only have secret leftist meetings where we pass notes back and forth so that they can't record us and stuff like that. No. They are extremely open about this. They write books about this. They do presentations about this. They have entire training meetings about this. They have mutual aid tables at their events. It's just like the left could not be more clear. Remember when we went into that remember when we watched that recording of the what was it? It was the Freedom Road Socialist Organization. Remember when we watched the recording of the Freedom Road Socialist Organization meeting and there was a conservative infiltrator in the meeting? And the conservative infiltrator was like, "Excuse me, how are you guys funding?" And the socialists laughed at him and they said, "Well, sir, contrary to what is said on conservative media, we are not funded by Soros. We do fundraising called mutual aid." So even when conservative retards think they're going undercover at a socialist meeting and they try to blend in and they ask some stupid question like, "Excuse me, how are you funding all of this?" The leftists know that's a conservative, by the way. They laughed at him overtly and they told him flat out, we're doing some fundraising. We're doing some fundraising. Mutual aid is like fundraising. It's like the fucking bake sale at your kid's school, or when your kids have to sell the candy bars or the fucking pizza or whatever. It's like fucking Girl Scout cookies. They're selling cookies. They're getting money for the Girl Scout. I don't know. Do the Girl Scouts even still exist? Are they allowed to have gender anymore? I have no fucking idea. It's like passing the collection plate at church. It's like those street performers that you see where they do all sorts of dances in the middle of the street and then they walk around with a bucket and you're supposed to throw it in. It's like the musician on the subway that has his case open and everyone throws in $5 if they appreciate what he's playing or just want him to shut the fuck up or have a request or something like that. That's what mutual aid is, guys. Mutual aid is small cash donations that are untraceable. They may also donate goods like heating pads for your hands or food or rent money. Sometimes they donate, or Plan B. They always, for some reason, they always have Plan B in mutual aid tents. Like anytime I've seen an Antifa like tabling event, they've had Plan B sitting on top of all their zines. So if you need birth control, just go infiltrate a leftist event and you can get Plan B. Like they'll give it to you for free. You don't even have, they'll sometimes just leave it in a pile at the entrance, and you can just take one out of the box or several if you really want several. Anyway, so they're very open about how they do this. They do it all the time. And today we're gonna watch a class from Dean Spade that was given at a college 4 years ago, but it's all the same information. I think it's gonna be the better one to watch. And we're going to learn about mutual aid. So this is going to be a good introductory day for people who don't know how this shit works on the left. And that's what we're going to be watching. And guys, if you want to help me share this post, because apparently the Twitter algorithm hates me now, although it's supposed to like videos of people talking again. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But if you guys want to help me share this video on Twitter by bookmarking it, liking it, replying to it, retweeting it, quote tweeting it, doing all those things, that would really help me out, because Twitter fucking hates me and the algorithm won't share my shit. Even when I pin it to the top of my homepage, which is supposed to share it with my entire 125,000 follower audience, it only gets a couple thousand views. So you guys can help me break out of the Twitter algorithm by interacting with the post, by liking the post, by retweeting the post, bookmarking the post. And those things tell Twitter people want to see this, and then it serves it to more people and yada, yada, yada. And if you guys could just like follow me and turn on notifications and share this shit when I put it out there, that would be really, really, really helpful. I know a lot of you do that, and I do appreciate that. But Twitter sucks, and the algorithm fucking hates me right now. And I don't know what. Well, no, I probably complained about conservatives too much. Honestly, that's probably what I did. But whatever, it'll either bounce back or it won't. It doesn't really matter, I guess. But if you guys could help me out on that one, that would be rad. So we're gonna do this mutual aid thing. We've got Spy Stream tonight in about an hour and a half. So we have the Spy Stream information over on the Substack. I posted the Spy Stream information to the post tab on the YouTube channel. So if you are a brand new YouTube channel member, hang on. If you are a brand new YouTube channel member over the past couple days, how you get to Spy Stream is you go to my channel homepage and you go to the post tab. And at the very top of the post tab, not on this screen, but if you are a channel member, at the very top of the post tab, the very first thing you will see will be a link to Spy Stream. And Mac B, Spy Stream should be wrapped up by your movie night tonight. So Mac B is also hosting a movie night in the supporter Discord tonight. They're watching Nuremberg. And so that can be something you do. Hey, if I blocked you on X, you probably did a retard thing on X. Why did I block you? What retard thing did you say? I don't even recognize you in my chat. Who are you new? Hang on. Oh no, you've been here before. Okay, my bad. You've been here before. Looks like you've had some stuff deleted in the chat too, so you might have said something retarded on X. Yeah. Fill out the fucking apology form, admit whatever you did was retarded, and tell me your handle, and I might unblock you. But I'm gonna be very blunt with you. Whining in my chat as some sort of guilt trap. I'm sorry, I can't because you blocked me on X. I don't like fucking whining. I don't like it. You didn't do anything? You didn't? Okay. I don't believe you. I don't block people for not doing anything. So then don't get unblocked. If you don't want to admit what you did, then you don't get unblocked. Sorry, that's the rule. If I lose your retweet out of it, so fucking be it. Don't really care. Anyway, if you're a channel member, you can find the link over on the post tab. If you are a Substack member, you can find the link on the homepage. Rumble, I'm gonna hook you guys up. Just stick around on the channel. And if you're a supporter on Locals or Patreon or Twitter, you can find the information over on whatever platform you're a supporter on, and you can come join us for Spy Stream in about an hour and a half. And please, guys, there are so many Spy Streams this week. Please just keep an eye on the Substack, the Telegram, the Twitter, wherever you see me make announcements, or make sure you just come to like stream or something like that. There are so many Spy Streams this week. There's going to be links coming out all week. I'm going to do the very best I can to keep everyone up to date. Okay, bro, again, I don't block people on X for not doing anything. So you are lying. I know that. There is no universe in which I block people on X for not doing anything. So I'm going to ask you to either fucking confess what you did or shut the fuck up about it. You hear me? No more fucking whining, bro. Either confess to what you did and ask me to unblock you, or shut the fuck up and allow me to conduct my class. Now we're starting to see why he probably got blocked on Twitter. Ring the bell, Narfall. Yes, he does. He does. He doesn't listen to anything I say, but Morio Narfall does follow me on X. Okay, who just got put in a 5-minute timeout for fucking whining? I think we're starting to see why that guy got blocked on X. Everyone's seeing this. I say, don't do this. They're like, eh. And then I say, don't do that again. They go, eh. And then I say, no, I'm serious. Don't fucking do that. And then they go, eh. And then I say, if you don't shut the fuck up and stop whining, I'm going to fucking block you. And then they go, I'm not whining, eh. And then I put them in a timeout. And I promise you, when he comes back from a timeout, he's probably going to start fucking whining again. Watch what happens. He's got 5 minutes. He's got 5 minutes to sit there and fucking sulk about it. I'm not whining. Yes, you are. Yeah, you are. You know what you should have done instead? You know what you should have done instead? It was real simple, bro.
You take your top lip and connect it to your bottom lip, you will shut the fuck up. Sometimes shutting the fuck up is the best thing you can do.
Should have just shut the fuck up. Not whining means shut the fuck up. This is an IQ test. Anyway, so we are going to be doing that mutual aid thing today. However, I have 2, not 1, but 2 mystery sunglass boxes. Old sub! W's old sub, thank you so much for donating 5 channel memberships. Everyone give old sub W's in the chat. 5 more channel members who can join us for Spy Stream this week. How fucking awesome. How fucking awesome is that? Okay, back to me, the thing of most importance. These mystery sunglass cases were supposed to arrive on Saturday. They were supposed to arrive in time for my birthday stream yesterday. However, the postal service sucks. My mail lady fucking hates me because of how many packages I get delivered and the fact that I don't pick up the junk mail from the mailbox because I don't want it. So my mail lady fucking hates me. She passive aggressively does this shit all the time. These were supposed to get delivered on Saturday and be a birthday surprise. And my mail lady fucked me over, okay? That's what happened. They just got delivered today. So, I have no idea what's in these cases. For people who don't know, I get the really cool sunglasses that I wear from a company named Vintage Frames Company. They've got a show on Whatnot. They've got so many fucking cool glasses and frames, and you can customize them and all that stuff. And I have It's bordering on absurd how many sunglasses I have sitting on my desk. It's bordering on absurd. Occasionally, what Vintage Frames does is they do these mystery sunglass boxes where you pay for one of the boxes, but you have no fucking clue what pair of sunglasses you're getting. I have bought 3 of these before, and quite frankly, all of the sunglasses that I've gotten from these mystery boxes have been an absolute fucking W. And oftentimes you'll get a pair that's like way more expensive than like what you would have paid for the box. And so because it was my birthday, I decided to get 2 more mystery boxes as a present for me because it's fun and I like seeing what things I get from it. And so I was supposed to get these for my birthday. They didn't arrive. So we're going to open them now. Okay. We're going to open them now. We're going to find out what's in the sunglass boxes. And the boxes that these things come in are really fucking cool. That's another reason why I like these mystery boxes, because the actual cases that these sunglasses come in are really cool. Hang on. So they come in these, I love croc emboss things. I'm a very big fan of like Croc Emboss. They come in these blue Croc embossed cases that are really, really nice. And then they come in an additional Croc embossed case, and all this stuff is super nice. Okay, you guys ready to see what is the first pair of sunglasses that I got this time? Let's see. Oh, hang the fuck on. Are you shitting me? Hang the fuck on. Check it out. These are buffalo horns. Oh! I got buffalo horns? Holy shit. These are so fucking expensive. You cannot buy these from him for less than $300. He gets these are like over $1,000 in his retail store. You cannot buy these from him on Whatnot for less than $300. These are made out of an actual buffalo horn. This is a fucking buffalo horn. Yo! Look at these. Oh! I'm in love. These are fucking perfect! Yo! I got a pair of buffalo horns. I wanted the white ones with the pink frames, but you know what? I was thinking about getting a blue pair of frames earlier today. Exactly this frame, actually. This is like a blue to silver, like, gradient. I was looking at a pair with exactly this color lens, like, specifically. That's fucking wild. That is fucking wild. Okay, another dub for the Vintage Frames mystery sunglass box. Another W, no matter what I get in this other one. This is a massive fuck off W. That is awesome. Let's put that one back for right this second while we open the other one. Massive W. Massive W. Okay, the next one is up. Yeah, these might be my new favorites. The buffalo horn ones. He almost never, I watch his show all the time on Whatnot. He almost never even sells the buffalo horn ones because people ask for them all the time, but they don't want to pay $300 for them. And in his retail store, he sells them for like $1,200, I think. So if you go on his website, they're like $1,200 fucking dollars, which of course I'm never going to pay over $1,000 for a pair of fucking sunglasses. But even $300 is like, that's a lot for a pair of sunglasses. Anyway, pair number 2. I like the rose gold ones on me as well. Yo, what are these? These are cool. What the fuck are these, though? I don't even know what these are. I have no fucking idea what brand these are, but they're cool. Look at these frames. I have no idea what this is. This is not Vintage Frames. It's got green lens, too. Look at the green. Holy shit. I wonder what these are. It's going over my head. Yo, I like these too. I feel like I'm in a sci-fi movie. Everything is green now. I feel like I'm in Soylent Green where everything had like a sheen of green over it. These are going to be, I like these. I was actually thinking this morning I need a green pair of sunglasses as well. It fills the void I have with the green. They're like lime glasses. I just wonder what brand they are. What the fuck are these? Is this like Loewe? What is that? Is this Loewe? These might be Loewe. These are definitely vintage. They're definitely like a designer frame. I just don't know exactly which one they are. I'm gonna have to like chat GPT this shit. I think these might be Loewe. Which is like a Spanish brand for people who don't know. These are fucking cool. Listen. They make me look rich. They do make me look rich. Look at this. This is like what I need to wear if I ever go back to like Beverly Hills or something like that. Which I fucking hate Beverly Hills. But like if I'm in LA, I usually will stay there because reasons. But that's cool. Okay, I have to say, 2 more Vintage Frames dubs. I never would have bought these myself. If left to my own devices, never would have bought these. And that's what I love about these mystery boxes. And by the way, he has no idea I stream on the internet, okay? No one fucking tell him either. If you ever go into his show to buy sunglasses, don't fucking tell him where you heard of it. Don't tell him my name. He doesn't even know, like he calls me Carly sometimes. He doesn't even know how to say my name. I want to keep it that way. He doesn't know I stream on the internet. He doesn't know I wear his sunglasses and talk about it on the internet. I just want to be a normal fucking person on Whatnot, okay? I don't want to be a fucking YouTube streamer. But like, he's not, so he has no idea I do this. I'm actually just like, I fucking love his shit. And the mystery boxes, I've gotten 5 of them now. Every single mystery box has been a 100% massive W. Every single one. And you get these cool cases. And so I think he does his mystery box shows like at once a week. Go buy them. They're fucking awesome. They're fucking awesome. But I'm going to wear the blue ones. I'm going to wear the buffalo horns. I'm so excited I got a pair of buffalo horns. I was really hoping for a pair of buffalo horns. I was like manifesting. I was like, I want the buffalo sunglasses because I don't want to pay $300 for them. And I didn't. I want the white ones with the pink lens though, but we'll get those another day. We'll get those another day. Hang on. Hang on. I have to organize myself in all my boxes now. Okay. All right. We have our sunglasses. I'm so fucking excited about these. I'm like stupid excited about these. We have our sunglasses. We are ready for our mutual aid presentation. All right, guys, everyone. So I found a bunch of presentations. Like I said, it's not difficult to like find presentations about mutual aid on the left. And of course, we are defaulting to Dean Spade. Dean Spade is one of the leftist activists that we watch rather frequently. Dean Spade is a veteran leftist activist. And basically, Dean Spade has been doing leftist activism since them was a little queer in college. We know that because Dean Spade was in a documentary over 20 years ago about being a little queer activist in college. Actually, it was maybe almost 30 years ago. It's almost 30 years ago. He was in that, them was in the documentary. So Dean Spade has been around leftist activism for a long ass time. If you want to learn about why the left does what it does, Dean Spade is one of the people who can teach you. Dean Spade is a professor at Seattle University School of Law. We have watched Dean Spade do talks all over the country advocating for the overthrow of the government, specifically. And Dean Spade is one of the key experts that the left turns to on the topic of mutual aid. Now, we were originally going to watch this presentation, which is just from a year ago. I think we were actually, but then I remembered, I think we actually were in the live stream for this. We actually did a spy stream with this specific presentation. I'm pretty sure of that. But then when I was searching for Dean Spade, all of these different clips from the Barnard Center for Research on Women started coming up. And I was like, where is the full presentation? Because Barnard is a college, the Center for Research on Women is a center within Barnard College. What if I just went to their YouTube page and searched for this presentation on mutual aid from 4 years ago? Oh, wait! Here it is right here. Here it is right here. Building capacity for mutual aid groups, workshop 1, no masters, no flakes, and also there's a full playlist here with even more fucking workshops. So they've got several workshops. Perhaps we will make our way through all. Oh, you guys can't see this. They've got several workshops. Perhaps we will make our way through all of them at some point. But I want everyone to understand what we're looking at. This is like universities investing resources through their academic centers, teaching students how to be leftist activists. Okay. Now I want to explain how this works for people who are not as familiar with the wonderful world of higher education as I am. For people who don't know, you might be new to me. I spent the first 10 years of my career in higher education. This is part of why I was politically left. I worked for colleges and universities all over the country. I worked sometimes directly for the colleges and universities. I worked in admissions offices. I worked in marketing offices. I worked in fundraising offices. I also worked for consulting companies that were providing consulting services to higher ed. Also, when I went full-time with my own organizational psychology practice, I was a person that did board retreats, board facilitations, facilitated meetings among higher ed leadership, and stuff like that. So I have an extensive amount of experience in higher education. I was an adjunct faculty member at multiple colleges. I'll never do that shit again. I'll tell you that. So I have literally probably one of the most diverse skill sets in higher education as it's possible to have. I've been on both the academic side and the administrative side. I've been on the consulting side. I've worked with leadership teams. I have done all that shit, okay? I know exactly how higher education works, and I know it from multiple different angles. And if you haven't worked in higher education or you didn't go to college, and by the way, no shame if you didn't go to college. Not everyone has to go to college. That's not my point. But if you haven't been exposed to these environments, you may not understand how it actually works. And I'm going to explain it to you. But let me grab this question. I've heard organizing like-minded people in an effective way to count. No. There are no right-wing organizations that you should join. None. There are no right-wing organizations that are doing anything to counter the left, guys. There really are not. If anyone thinks they know of something, tell it in the chat, but zero organizations are doing anything real about this. Bro, right-wing organizations don't actually care about defeating the left. Right-wing organizations want to use the left as a talking point in order to win elections. They don't want the left to go away. They want the left to be perpetually used to say the Democrats could do something about this, but they're not doing anything about it. That's all the right cares about. They care about weaponizing what the left is doing to say, why aren't the Democrats stopping this? And then they try to use it in elections to defeat the Democrats. They never solve the problem because they don't want to solve the problem because it's one of their only talking points that they can use against the Democrats. So exactly zero organizations on the right that I know of are doing anything significant to fight this problem. They're trying to make clickbait of it. They're trying to get clout from it. They're trying to pretend they care about the problem for fame and influence and blah, 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 blah. But none of them are actually doing anything about it. So, wish I had a better answer. I just don't. Back to this. So, how higher education works, and this is hyper relevant if you want to understand the left. People think that the only way that people are indoctrinated into the far left in higher education is through like their classes, is through their academics, is you have students and you have classes and the professors teach the students to be good little leftists in classes, and that is how people are indoctrinated into the left in colleges and universities, which is true, but it is not the only part of it. And I'm going to explain more. Hang on. Far more impactful at colleges and universities, but something that gets almost no attention and something that I've been really focusing on trying to figure out ways to track and monitor as best I can. It's not just the academics. It's not just the classes. It's these research centers that are run by the faculty that churn out all of these bullshit journal articles where faculty get together, they write all the high-level leftist talking points, they then publish them in these journals where they get read by other faculty, they host conferences talking about these bullshit leftist ideas, and students not only get these ideas in class, students also get these ideas through these little centers that pop up at colleges and universities all over the country. These are the places that are perpetuating the queer bullshit. These are the places where they're having the more advanced discussions about what leftist activism looks like and all these protest movements, and they're teaching people how to do mutual aid and shit like that. And so it's not just the classes. It's also the research centers that are run by these faculty members. And what happens is a faculty member will say, I want to start a research center for queer liberation and trans activism, or whatever the fuck. You can literally just make this stuff up. It becomes a nonprofit center within the college and university, and that allows this one faculty member to go out to the rich alumni and say, hey, rich alumni, will you give me $1 million to do the Center for Queer Liberation and Trans Activism? And we can do some stuff around that topic. And then the rich alumni go, sure, here's a tax deductible donation for you, and just keep me updated about what's going on. And so that's how they fund it. It's like these little fucking centers that are created by these faculty members within universities, and then students will go and work for these centers. They get like student workers, or they do like lectures through these centers. It's like when you're at a university lecture, you see a university lecture and it's like, this is funded by the Center for retarded college students who can't read good, or like whatever the fuck it is. It's like, this is sponsored by the Barnard Center for the Research on Women, or whatever the fuck. That's where a lot of this shit is coming out of. It's not just the classes, it's also these little research centers. And you would be shocked beyond all imagination how many of these centers actually exist. I have a running list of hundreds of these centers that exist at colleges and universities all over the country, just on the topic of queer and gender. Just on those two topics. That doesn't count all the ones that exist on race. That doesn't count all the ones that exist on reproductive justice. That doesn't count. By the way, do you know that the left has research centers in universities specifically to study the right? There is a research center at Yale University. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it is at Yale University. We've covered it on the channel before. Yale University has a research center run by a faculty member with several student workers, where they get donations to send the faculty and the students undercover to right-wing events to come back and say, here is what happened at this right-wing event with these evil fascists. They've sent people undercover at Turning Point USA events. This specific center, there's also the Berkeley Center for Right-Wing Studies. That is true as well. Yeah, but this center at Yale specifically sent people undercover at Turning Point USA events, and then they came back and they did presentations on socialist websites saying, here's what we learned when we were undercover with the evil fascists. This is literally coming out of the universities. So we do like to keep an eye on these research centers at universities, because this is one of the breeding grounds of leftist activism bullshit. And if you want to know what's top of mind for them, it's one of the places where you can look for talks and stuff like that. So today we are going to be starting with a presentation from the Barnard Center for Research on Women. And this is with Dean Spade. And we're going to do an introduction to mutual aid. So if you have any questions as we make our way through the presentation, please do let me know in the chat. And let's just get this party started. If you guys want to donate channel memberships, we do have a spy stream coming up at 7:15-ish tonight. So we'll make our way through as much of this presentation as possible. But maybe we'll get through most of it. We got to dig in, though. We actually have to watch this thing. Okay, let's get started. I'll fast forward, too.
So workshops are available on
No, fast forwarding.
Res from Token.
I only want to get to Dean Spade. I don't need any fucking preamble from you assholes. Okay, here we go.
Dean to begin this workshop.
Thanks so much to Hope and Sophie.
Oh!
And the
Kazmar! W's Kazmar in with the 5 gifted channel memberships. Thank you so much, Kazmar. We love you. We appreciate you.
Interpreters and everyone who's making this possible. I'm really excited about this experiment. Basically, I wanted to take a lot of the workshop content that I just tend to do with mutual aid groups, like one group at a time, and try to make it available to a lot of people to see if people would want to bring it back to their groups, use the same content to run their own little workshops, or otherwise somehow find any of it helpful. I feel like I want to say, this is just stuff I learned by trying things. It may or may not be useful to you. I hope you'll take what you like and leave the rest. And maybe we'll all, learn some things, including me, about what's useful or not useful in this. I'm calling in from Duwamish land, Seattle, Washington.
Land
and really
blessing.
grateful to be here. So grateful for the ongoing collaborations with the Barnard Center for Research on Women, the Fireweed Collective, and Survived and Punished New York.
Wait, the Fireweed Collective? What in the ever-loving fuck is the Fireweed Collective? Fireweed Collective. Okay. Oh, okay. Mental health education. Great. Okay.
Hope
I think we've seen them before. We've seen them before. Never mind.
Great.
Yeah, I love
This
Fireweed
slide is
too.
just
Yeah.
a image that I found on the internet of a stencil that says solidarity, not charity.
No.
And I really like it. So I
Yes.
often throw
Yep.
it in.
Well, no. Actually, no. No, I'm wrong about that. No, Dean is not transitioned. Dean is not transitioned. What is Dean? Is Dean transitioned or is Dean something else? Dean is transformed. Dean is transformed. Dean has transcended gender. Because remember, Dean Spade is a 25-year plus queer liberation activist. Dean Spade was doing queer activist and queer liberation training when they them were in college 20 fucking years ago, 25 years ago, something like that. So Dean Spade is a they them, which means they are a queer, which means they reject the use of gender. So they are not transitioned as in man to woman or woman to man. Dean Spade has transcended gender, transformed gender. So they're going beyond the gender binary because queer activism wants to abolish the gender binary.
Okay, I want to share a few access notes. So I am using these slides, and I'm also going to be using interactive polls, and it's fine to not participate in them. If you just want to listen to this or just watch the interpreters, like whatever works for you, I will read what is on my slides out loud. So if it doesn't work for you to look at the screen, you could be hearing that. Or if it doesn't work for you to look at the slides, you could be seeing what the interpreters are interpreting from what I'm saying. And I will read selections from the polls. I won't read everything from the polls out loud because there's a lot of us. There'll be a couple times when I encourage people to write things in the YouTube chat. Sometimes I'll read things there for emphasis, but I can't probably read everything people write in the YouTube chat. I really encourage people to take breaks whenever you need to. This is being recorded.
Yes, Reagan. Yes. It's very funny that you asked that, Reagan, because I am indeed planning on that specific thing that you are asking. Indeed.
So you can come back to it later if it feels like that's useful. And this slideshow will be available later for anyone who wants to.
I know.
Use
I
it
got you.
or,
I got you.
Look at it again. What I want to try to do in this time, although it's possible we won't make it through all of it, in which case I'll bring some of the content into the next workshop. But what I'm hoping to do is give some basic background assumptions that I bring to this work.
Yo, breaking news. Eric Swalwell just resigned from Congress. Eric Swalwell. You know, fucking as many women as he did was eventually going to come back to bite him in the ass, and doing it on video probably wasn't smart. Eric Swalwell resigned. Goodbye, asshole.
Talk a little bit about why I think it's so important for us to make our mutual aid groups horizontal, like to make them flat, to have there be no boss, no executive director.
Wah, wah.
Talk about a few common problems that a lot of groups run into, and this question of what we want to cultivate instead. Talk a little bit about how all groups have a group culture or an organizational culture. Talk about capacity. This is like a really big thing people wrote in the registration questions that's facing your groups, like having too much work, feeling burned out, feeling like people are flaky so the work doesn't get done. I want to talk a little bit about perfectionism and procrastination, and then we'll have a Q&A period. And I've tried to make this as interactive as possible, given that it's being watched on YouTube. we're not actually.
Goro, I think it's the study of, I'm not sure, Goro. Honestly, it could be one of those or it could be a third one. I have it written down somewhere. I don't remember what it is though. I apologize.
In a webinar format together, using polls to try to in the chat to try to solicit your experiences. So we will be seeing how that goes, and I hope that we'll get to hear a lot from people about what they're learning and what problems they're running up against. So I want to shift to those polls. So Hope and Sophie, if you could move us to the polls, and we'll do the first one. I'm just using these as an opportunity.
We're not going to do the polls, Dean. We have other shit we need to do today. We're just going to get to right to the lesson. He's just doing some they them is doing a stupid poll. We're going to move on from this. This is going to be a little meandering part. This will allow us to save time and we can actually get to our spy stream on time. There we go.
Kind of where I stand on a few things. Happy to answer questions about these at the end. I just think they kind of sometimes are clarifying for people about where I'm coming from. And if you don't share them, that's fine. But just so you know why I'm talking about things I'm talking about.
That's a good question, Master Shake.
One is that I believe that social change comes from organizing by millions of people, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, not from charismatic leaders, corporate media coverage, elected officials, courts or legislatures. Those things I think all like catch up later sometimes, or like parrot some of it or co-opt some of it. But the only way we're going to win, or even that some of us will survive, is through people power. Like our opponents have all the money, all the guns. They've set up enormous systems to relentlessly extract from people and the planet. And the only thing we have going for us is that like their game is a losing game for most people on Earth. And so I strongly believe that we're not going to find any answers through elite solutions. We need tons and tons and tons of people organized to create enormous pressure and replace the extractive systems.
The extractive system is capitalism.
That underlies everything we're going to talk about today.
So let me just make sure people understand this. One of the reasons it's so fucking stupid that conservatives believe that leftist funding comes from some evil Soros type figure. What is the left against? This is a pop quiz. What is the left against more than anything else? What does the left want to eliminate? And the word I'm looking for starts with an H. It doesn't start with a C. You're going to say capitalism, and that's true. That's true. What does capitalism create? Hierarchy. Yo, David! In with the W. David. Hierarchy. Hierarchy is what the left is against. Capitalism creates all hierarchy. When some people have more resources than other people. What is a Soros type figure? A Soros type figure is at the top of the fucking hierarchy, dictating to the peons what they will do. This is something that the left is vehemently against. They do not like hierarchy. They want to eliminate all hierarchy. And mutual aid is a way, mutual aid is a way of doing fundraising so that it is horizontal. It is non-hierarchical. It doesn't make any sense if you understand the principles of the left to think that they would go running to some big daddy Warbucks type figure to say, please, sir, can you please fund our protest? That's not what they do. That goes against every fiber of their being. So they have to do something in a different way. Mutual aid is intended to be a way for them to fund what they want to do that is outside of the capitalist system because it's non-hierarchical. It's horizontal. Does everyone understand that? The right thinks vertically. They think in terms of hierarchy, like there is a boss and there is laws and there are rules and da-da-da-da-da. The right thinks vertically. The left thinks horizontally. If you do not understand this distinction, you do not understand the left. This is why it's almost impossible for the right to even wrap their heads around the idea of mutual aid, because they're like, no, it has to come from somewhere. It does. It comes from a horizontal fundraising structure, a massive amount of people giving a little bit of money or time or resources or whatever. It doesn't come from one person. It comes from many, 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 many people, and no one is reporting like to anyone else.
Believe that local networked autonomous projects grounded in local knowledges are
Well,
better at
that's
responding
true.
to
That's
crisis
true.
and
That's
disaster
true as well. Yeah, that's
and
true.
building methods of
Not
collective
dealing with the brightest
self-determination
crayons in the
than
box.
big centralized organizations. So in an
Yo,
authoritarian society
Liberty!
like ours,
W, bro.
we're
Thank
told
you.
that if we want things to go, quote unquote, to scale, they should be big organizations that have a central leadership that delivers instruction from some central place. That's like how the government works. And
See,
how
like Dean Spade is talking about this right now. Listen specifically to what Dean Spade is saying. Dean Spade is going to say to you literally what I just said.
Projects grounded in local knowledges are better at responding to crisis and disaster and building methods of collective self-determination than big centralized organizations. So,
Dean Spade is saying we believe that smaller, more localized structures are better able to facilitate our activism than hierarchical, centralized organizations. We're going to listen to that again. Thank you, Liberty, for being a member of the channel for a month. Really appreciate you, bro. Thank you so much. Let's go back a little bit further. Sorry, I didn't go back far enough.
the guns, they've set up enormous systems to relentlessly extract from people and the planet. And the only thing we have going for us is that like their game is a losing game for most people on Earth. And so I strongly believe that we're not going to find any answers through elite solutions.
That makes
we
sense.
need tons and tons and tons of people organized to create enormous pressure and replace the extractive systems. So like that's like the theory of change that underlies everything we're going to talk about today. I also believe that local networked autonomous projects grounded in local knowledges are better at responding to crisis and disaster and building methods of collective self-determination than big centralized organizations.
See?
So in an authoritarian society like ours, we're told that if we want things to go, quote unquote, to scale, they should be big organizations that have a central leadership that delivers instruction from some central place. That's like how the government works and how corporations work and big nonprofits. And actually, in my opinion, those things are very non-responsive to the local conditions where crisis and disaster happen. And I think the better, more responsive to scale model is a proliferation of projects that share best practices and wisdom, that have solidarity and back each other up, but that can like learn on the ground what is needed right where they are, like in their cultural community, in their language, in their region, in their ecology. So that is part of what I believe about mutual aid, is that we make a million projects or millions of projects rather than trying to come up with like one like state solution.
See? Lots of little ones, not one big one.
I believe that starting with the survival of the most stigmatized and excluded people.
These are vintage John Paul Gaultier sunglasses. This is the one I wanted last time. Yo! Holy shit. Holy shit. These are so fucking expensive. Yo! Double mystery box W. Double mystery box fucking W.
Is the most pragmatic approach. That needs saying because we live in a context in which like most like nonprofit and charity advocacy and services is about like figuring out who the deserving people are and giving them
Yeah, we did
something or
fitting, and
cutting
then we did
them a
slime,
break
and then we
from
did
a brutal
sunglasses.
system.
Okay, I don't see the problem.
Like who doesn't have a felony conviction, or
Who doesn't have a felony? I
who,
don't have a
you
felony
know,
conviction.
is sober,
Contrary to
or
popular belief seems to be.
all of those pieces. And that, I think that social justice never trickles down. So if you meet the needs of people who are less stigmatized and excluded, you will not have met the needs of people who are in a worse and more complex position. You'll actually often have worsened the stigma around them. So a lot of what mutual aid groups have always done is support the people who are left out of everything else. And that, to me, is highly pragmatic. If we make change, if we create a world that works for the most stigmatized people, it'll work for everyone else too.
It will not be fly fishing. Fishing is the most
the
boring
reverse
thing.
is not true.
Okay, I'm about to piss off
those are my
everyone
assumptions.
who fishes. Fishing is the most boring fucking thing. My father tried to get me to like fishing growing up because my father really liked going out on the lake in the canoe. And we had a canoe and he took us out on the lake and he tried to make me like fishing and I didn't because fishing is boring as fuck. Although I did later learn to like kayaking and I used to have a kayak and then some fucking landscaper literally stole my fucking kayak off my back deck. Can you believe that shit? I had my kayak on my back deck. Some fucking asshole landscaper with a truck stole my fucking kayak. That takes motivation right there to steal a fucking kayak. And I just never got another one. But maybe I will someday. We'll see.
I look forward to any questions about them.
Kayaking's rad,
That's
though.
a
It's
real
awesome.
rough version of them, but that's like the ground upon which other things I'm saying stands. So these workshops are about building mutual aid groups that can make decisions together, that include everybody, that can prevent and weather conflict, that can sustain work and sustain engagement, that can bring lots of new people into the work, and so that it's well resourced by people power, and that can be a bridge for people towards deeper and bolder movement engagement. I strongly believe that horizontal group structures, meaning group structures where there's no boss or executive director or like main decider, are the way to get there.
Horizontal group structures where there is no boss or main decider is the way to get there. You guys don't believe me? They're structured horizontally. There's literally a fucking slide about it. They're talking about this is how they believe. This is what they think.
And bolder movement engagement. I strongly believe that horizontal group structures, meaning group structures where there's no boss or executive director or like main decider, are the way to get there for a number of reasons. And I want to share
Two
those
$500 pair of
in case that's
sunglasses
new
at
for
least.
people.
No big deal. Actually, no, these are $1,200. The John Paul Gaultiers are $500. I think.
One big reason is that hierarchies invite abuse and reproduce systems like racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, etc.
Hierarchies.
I mean, we see it all the time.
And hierarchies reproduce racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, and other patterns of oppression. If you understand that the left believes that every single hierarchy is created by capitalism, we'll deal with the retard in the chat in a second. If you understand that the left believes that every single hierarchy is created by capitalism, then you understand that the left believes just replace hierarchies with capitalism because they believe capitalism creates the hierarchies. Capitalisms reproduce through social reproduction theory and also other things. Capitalism reproduces racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, and all patterns of oppression. Ageism is against old people. It's like saying old people can't contribute to the capitalist system. So there you go. There you go. They know they would get them tied up in RICO. You fucking retard. We are not watching Democrats. These people are way farther left than Democrats. The people we're watching hate the Democrats. There is going to be no RICO. There was never going to be any RICO. Your hero Trump doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Sit down, shut the fuck up, listen, and try not to break anything. No more retard shit in the chat from you. One more retard chat, you're going to get banned. They don't give a flying fuck about hierarchies in the natural world. This is not out. We're not talking about a fucking nature walk through the woods. We are talking about how they operate and how they function as an organizing community. So they don't give a fuck.
Are the way to get there for a number of groups to power, and that can be a bridge for people towards deeper and bolder movement engagement. I strongly believe that horizontal group structures, meaning group structures where there's no boss or executive director or like main decider, are the way to get there for a number of reasons. And I want to share those in case that's new for people. One big reason is that hierarchies invite abuse and reproduce systems like racism, sexism, ableism, ageism, etc. I mean, we see it all the time. It's like when you set something up as a hierarchy, like oftentimes it's men or white people bossing people around, or old people bossing young people around, or whatever. And the bossing around can include worse forms of exploitation and abuse also. I think that is inherent to hierarchy. So we've seen forever in social justice movements, people set up hierarchical groups, and then the same stuff plays out that they were trying to fight. I think that's worsened. It's not as if it can't happen in horizontal groups. We still have the dynamics. We still have that unlearning to do, but I think that hierarchy invites it. I think people generate more wisdom when they think of solutions and plans together than when someone is anointed to tell them what to do. Like, there's just more wisdom when more people get a full say and can say, well, that doesn't work for people with this situation that maybe no one else is thinking of, or that won't work for my community for these reasons. Then we start to get a better idea. When we have a hierarchy, often people on top with privilege saying how it's going to be and not capable of considering all of that other wisdom. When people have a say in work, it gets implemented more, especially when almost everybody is doing this work for free. People just won't do it if they're being forced to. Like, if I'm in a group that I'm just in because I care about it, and there's a boss in the group and they say, this is how we're going to do the work, and I don't think that's good for my community or for the work, I'll just leave, or I won't do it. And that's even true at paid jobs. Lots of us, intentionally drag our feet in or slow down the work.
Okay. Apparently we need to go over the rules for new people who don't want to listen. Bro, Holland, why don't you do me a favor, Holland? Why don't you do me a favor? Why don't you find a radical revolutionary leftist group in your area? And why don't you just go to one of their meetings? And you can walk into their meeting and you can say, excuse me, socialists, do you know, but there will always be a boss, and you are fools if you think otherwise. You go and you try to explain that to them, and you just see what reaction you get. And if you are unwilling to do that, shut the fuck up and stop debunking them in the chat. Because I promise you, you are going to make no headway. They don't give a flying fuck what you think. There is no way they are going to listen to you. You are never going to convince them that they are wrong and you are right. So now what you need to do is smarten the fuck up, sit in the back of the room, listen to what's being said, and shut your fucking mouth. No talking, only listening. We do not debunk on this channel, guys. We do not debunk because, quite frankly, they don't care. They believe what they believe. There is nothing that you can do to stop it. And every single time people start debunking shit in the chat, it becomes a complete and total distraction. If you are debunking them, you are not learning. If you are waiting to talk rather than listening, you are not learning. If you are trying to think of, here are all the reasons why they are wrong and bad, and I am right and morally superior, then you are not listening and you are not learning. Also, and this is a very good point, the people in the video cannot hear you. And conservatives always seem to be very confused about this. Conservatives talk to the video all the time. They're like, maybe if I just say it enough times, the video from 4 years ago will hear me. They cannot hear you. Thank you, Candace. I appreciate it. Average person, the question we are interested in answering is, what do they believe? If you want to answer how are they wrong, this is not your place. That is exactly right. This is not the right stream for you. Go over to the conservative retard side of the internet and the Fox News Facebook page, and you can debunk shit all you want. Won't solve any problems. But you'll be able to feel better over there with the other idiots of the internet who don't understand what the fuck they're talking about.
Because we think it's messed up how it's being organized. So when people actually have a say in how work happens.
Oh my God. I didn't know that you don't like comments in the chat. No, bro. No. What we don't want is debunking. And I am telling you that, and the rest of the fucking chat is telling you that. So why are you still talking? We told you no. We do not want that bullshit here. We have explained it to you very clearly why. You just don't want comments in the chat. No. I want comments in the chat. I don't want retard bullshit in the chat. So now, because you couldn't shut the fuck up and listen, you're getting put in a 5-minute timeout. We are going to forcibly shut you up. And if you come back and whine about it after the 5 minutes, we're just going to ban you from the channel. If you cannot sit quietly and listen without debunking them, you do not belong here. This is for adults. This is not for retards. Go away.
They stay in it in a different way and implement it. And ultimately, we want more people to have more skills to take responsibility together for what's happening in our world. We need people activated. The current culture wants us all very passive. It wants us to consume and be lost in entertainment and passively hope that the next election or something someone else does, a nonprofit does, will solve our problems. And the whole point of the kind of movements I'm in is we need maximum participation. We need people to take responsibility for one another and for our lives. And so we want people to have more skills to steward stuff together instead of being like the bosses or the top dogs or the elites will handle this or should handle this, and I'm kind of disempowered.
Yeah, I feel like I'm being very generous, honestly.
Also,
Far
we
more than I
want
should
all
be.
of our groups, all of our little mutual aid projects and our medium-sized mutual aid projects, we want them all to be people-building machines. We want someone to show up because they need something or because they're passionate about helping people who need this thing. And out of that, gain a bunch of new skills and new solidarities. Like they come in because they care about this.
This is a really good question. I'm curious how much this trickled down into nonprofit leadership training. Yeah, I mean, the left has tons of nonprofits. The left has so many nonprofits. Like, the left controls the vast majority of nonprofits. Let's just put it that way. So yes, a lot of this stuff is in the nonprofits. I'm not going to say every nonprofit is leftist. I'm not going to say that at all. But like, you will find a lot of these ideas and these types of activists in nonprofits. That is absolutely true.
And they find out they also care about this and they're going to have all these other people's backs, and they learn how to facilitate meetings, and they learn how to plan a direct action, and they learn how to do hygiene in particular settings, or they learn how to tie knots in a certain way. We want people to get skilled up and deepen their political understandings and their abilities to connect with others and build belonging in communities. We need this to build us up, especially skill us up with the skills that have been denied by living in an authoritarian, white supremacist, sexist, etc. society.
Capitalist.
This is my attempt at making a graphic. I'm into rainbows. What this graphic is supposed to be about. If you imagine that the white fields, this graphic looks like a rainbow target with each layer moving to another color, and the outside is white. And then, and in that, I imagine like in that zone where people have not yet heard of our group, they're not connected to our group yet, but maybe some of them like heard about or are upset about what's happening with unhoused people.
Not really. Not really. But good question. I understand why you asked it. Not really.
City, or have some, someone they care about is in prison, or they think something might be wrong with the police. They've got they're potentially recruitable. They're, to some degree, they've either got some skin in the game, or they've got some vague interest, or they follow something that relates. And then if you imagine, I've got this arrow going to the center of the target. So when they enter the first outer circle, the red circle, they maybe have actually come in.
You want to hear Dean Spade from back in the day? You want to hear what Dean Spade looked like in college and sounded like in college? Real quick. Someone just said something about they, them's voice. I'll play this real quick. I found this clip on Instagram today, and it's from the documentary that Dean Spade was in when they, them was in college. And so we've watched this documentary on the channel. We've watched it twice. If you haven't seen this documentary, it's called Market This. It's about queer liberation activism in like colleges in like the late 90s, early 2000s. It's fucking wild. It is wild to go back and watch how far some of these ideas go back. But Dean Spade is actually in this clip. So let's listen to it from the beginning. It's 90 seconds long.
This movement has been.
This movement is okay. So this is Sylvia Rivera. This is one of the people that was involved in the Stonewall stuff. What they're talking about, the whole point of Market This is the idea that like we've talked about how queer liberation is about overthrowing capitalism, right? Queer liberation is not about being gay. It's not about being trans. It's about overthrowing capitalism. Queer is a political ideology, yada, yada, yada. We've talked a lot about that. When it comes to pride parades and pride celebrations, queer liberationists, and remember, this is back in the 90s. This was filmed in the late 90s. So this is pre-gay marriage. Queer liberationists are not in favor of pride celebrations and pride parades and that sort of thing, because even back in the 90s, they felt that pride celebrations were becoming too capitalist. So this is an example of like, when I talk about the normie gay rights movement that literally just wanted gay marriage and they just wanted people to be able to get married and like visit each other in the hospital and stuff like that, the normie gay rights movement for like gay marriage was very, very different and is still today very different than the queer liberation movement. The normie gay rights movement was fundamentally capitalist. That's why pride is considered to be capitalist. That's why they don't like pride parades. They still make these same arguments today. It's called rainbow capitalism. People are saying it in the chat. Whereas the queer liberationists are like, fuck your capitalism, fuck your pride, fuck your marriage. We don't want any of this shit. Marriage is a capitalist construct. We don't want people to get married, blah, 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 blah. And so the queers actually lost when gay marriage was legalized because they never wanted it in the first place. The queers don't like pride celebrations. They don't go to them or they try to disrupt them and stuff like that. It's very important that people understand the differences between these two groups, because one is, people might not like gay marriage. Fine. I don't really give a fuck if you like it or not. Gay marriage is a capitalist assimilation of like normie gay rights people that just want to be left alone. Queer is the thing you need to worry about. Queer is the thing trying to trans kids and queer kids and abolish gender and abolish the nuclear family, and all the bad things come from queer. It does not come from trans or the gay rights stuff. So that's a preface for what you're about to hear.
This movement has become so capitalist. It is a capitalist movement. You know, the first 4 years was basically fun. I mean, the festival took place right on Christopher Street, and everything was moderately priced. I didn't believe that I would have to sit here 32 years later and basically bitch about the fact that they have become so capitalist.
Yeah, gay pride really is, not what I need. It really is like sort of consumerist and racist and just not the politics that really feeds my life.
This is no longer my pride.
That was young Dean Spade in college, right there. Boom. That's what Dean Spade used to look like and sound like.
Yeah, gay pride really is, not what I need. It really is like sort of consumerist and racist and just not the politics that really feeds my life.
This is no longer my pride. I gave them their pride, but they have not given me mine.
I think that there definitely is, a difference between someone who's coming from a queer radical perspective and another queer person who isn't necessarily coming from a very progressive or radical perspective. I think on the one hand, you have a group of people who are saying, we're interested in the transformation of society to rid society of inequity, be it about race or be it about sexuality or what have you. And on the other hand, with say non-radical people, non-radical queer people, you might say that that they might be, you know, fighting for a piece of the pie, fighting against job discrimination, but not necessarily fighting against, you know, capitalism in general.
Good clip, huh? Good clip. Anyway, that was Dean Spade. Let's go back to Dean Spade 4 years ago.
Contact with our group in some way. They saw us on Instagram, or they saw our tent, you know, outside the jail, or they, someone mentioned it to them when they went through housing court or whatever. And then you get to the maybe at the level of the orange
I love
circle,
these
the
sunglasses.
next circle, and people who, you know, actually like came to one of our larger events, or read something we wrote, or signed a petition we wrote, you know, demanding that the city, you know, not build this jail or whatever it is. And then the yellow circle, maybe people who've come to our meetings, like they've come to 1 or 2 meetings, or they've reached out to us, they've engaged with us.
That'd be awesome.
They took home a hygiene kit and put them together for people to be brought to people in living in the encampment. They've done something with us. And maybe the green circle of people who are like actually like in our group and are like regularly come and participate in decision making and are pretty reliable. And the blue circle are people who are like really serious. This is the main thing they're doing in their life besides whatever they have to do to survive. And they are, you know, helping steward it and helping bring new people into the group. And the purple circle would be people who have taken on kind of the most like sense of that stewarding and are like really focused on bringing more and more and more people. So this image to me is about like what we're trying to do in our mutual aid groups. We're trying to bring people deeper into our groups and deeper into social movement and mobilization. We're trying to be like, how do we get people from the red to the orange? How do we get them from the orange to the yellow? You know, and how do we all become people building engines? How do we generate leadership in others and ownership of this project in others?
Hans.
Horizontal organizations, I think, like are this type of, you know, machine, or this, maybe that's not, maybe I should be using a more organic metaphor, but, you know, are this type of operation, this type of function. I don't know if this graphic is useful for people, but I enjoyed making it. So there's some common problems in social justice groups that I just want to name that may be familiar to you, and soon we'll get back to some of the more skillsy things in this workshop. This is just the kind of background stuff. One really big common problem in social justice groups, in groups with unpaid people, and groups with staff and nonprofits, all kinds.
Nonprofits.
Is a lot of
Someone asked
groups
about
that
that.
just really lack transparency. There's a lot of secrecy,
So
there's hierarchy, there's lack of clarity. We don't know how this decision was made. We don't know, nobody knows where the money's going. We don't know what, who, how much that person gets paid. You know, there's a sense, I think, especially in nonprofits, there's like something unsavory sometimes it feels like about why did they hire that person? Is this like that person's brother or something? Like what's going on here? Why can't we find out what the pay differences are between women of color and white men in this group? Or why won't this group sign on to the community call for a solidarity budget or to defund the police? Like what's really happening in this group? Whose pocket are they in? You know, this and even just really common lack of clarity, even in a lot of small mutual aid groups. So these are just like a common problem that comes up that we want to cultivate something different. Another common problem is groups over-promising and under-delivering. So like we say that we serve all people being released from prison in the county, but actually we probably see about 20 people a year, and we have this huge waiting list and most people can't get help anywhere. Or we say that we, you know, that's like a very
Trust a budget,
like that kind of
Dilkerts.
over-promising. It's like it really breaks trust in the community. It's very common with nonprofits.
So a solidarity budget is going to be a budget that they can use for people in solidarity, like a good comrade. It's just like it's a pot of money that they can use to help people they like, essentially.
Elitism, I think, is
my
related to
understanding.
this. Like if the city council members call us, we'll call them back, but we don't call back community members who aren't, you know, quote unquote important. And just general non-responsiveness, like not being able or not being interested in responding to people who are reaching out. It's like a really big problem in a lot of groups. And the third sort of theme is scarcity, urgency, and competition. like a sense of rushing, of overwork culture, of
Maybe it could
believing
be.
there's
Yeah,
never going to be
maybe.
enough, of feeling competitive with other groups that do the same things, or people in the group competitive with each other. Like, you're getting more attention than I
That's
am for
true.
this.
You do
that
have to
kind
get
of stuff.
vetted in
This
the
is just
PSL.
like, these are all like very normal responses to the conditions we live under, but they're problems we would like to solve by having strong group culture and structure. Let's see if I can get this to move forward. Okay, so what do we want to cultivate instead? Some of the things I think we want to cultivate are transparency. I think a lot of mutual aid groups are really good at this. Like, here's all the money, we're tweeting, here's all the money we raised in the last 6 months, and here's all the sleeping bags and water bottles and masks and phone chargers and diapers we bought with it. This kind of like interest in transparency is so beautiful and so not corporate, not nonprofit. We want accountability to community, right? We want to
Someone asked earlier about nonprofits. Did you notice Dean Spade just shit on nonprofits? Because Dean Spade believes nonprofits are still hierarchical. Nonprofits have an executive director and vice presidents or whatever, and other directors. Nonprofits have a hierarchy. Dean Spade does not like hierarchy because he's them is a communist. He wants everything. God damn it. Them wants everything to be horizontal, okay? So Dean Spade is not a fan of nonprofits, even though there are, of course, many nonprofits that support leftist causes. So you have to kind of keep that contradiction in mind. It's not that the left won't use nonprofits. It's not that Dean Spade himself doesn't work for nonprofits. Them does. But he still believes that the difference between charity or nonprofits and mutual aid is that charity is hierarchical, whereas mutual aid is horizontal. Yo, we got a super chat from Bosnos. I sent a brand new cartoon just for the retards in the chat. I did see that, Bosnos. I saw it on Twitter. After this vid or when you need it, 28 seconds long. It's my best one ever. So I don't know if I'm going to play it on stream, Bosnos. And you know why. I like it. I appreciate it. I don't know if I want to play it on stream because I'm kind of in it. And and no offense, I do appreciate you making it. I appreciate everyone having fun with it. I just don't want to put that on stream where bad actors might use it against me, my friend. But no, you didn't do anything wrong. I'm not saying you did. I just have my reasons, okay? I have to be careful about this stuff.
To our values, we don't want to be easily bought off by a funder or attention from the city council or the mayor or governor. We want to be able to stick to what the community believes in and needs and values. We want wise action that's influenced by many people's wisdom. So we want to avoid that concentrating decision making. We want to care about the most vulnerable first. So not get caught in, trying to find who's the most deserving group of people in crisis. We want to have a ability to cultivate abundance and sharing, to have that solidarity with other groups. The only way we're going to win anything is if we have each other's backs across like issue silos and organizations, like so much. So that maybe I'm in a mutual aid group that's doing eviction defense, but we show up for the transit workers strike, and we show up for the fight against the new jail, and we show up for the defund the police work, right? Like we have to build that kind of people power where we are deeply networked, even if we're going deep with particular mutual aid projects, and that's the bulk of our time. We want to have clear plans so that we know what we're doing. We can communicate that to new members in our groups. We can know that it's okay to implement them because we all came up with like the broad strokes together. So now we can go into getting it done in all of our subcommittees or whatever. And we want our groups to have clear boundaries about what we do and what we don't do and why. We don't want to just say yes to everything and then underdeliver. We want to make sure we made good choices about what our specific offering is that like no other group is doing this. Nobody else is providing this in Spanish in this neighborhood. So we're going to, and that's more important than this other thing we could get confused and lost doing that someone might want us to do, but that other groups are doing. So building horizontal groups is hard. Most of us have not been in horizontal structures. Like we live our lives in hierarchies, families, schools, jobs, churches, like someone else is deciding. Feedback only goes one way. We don't get a lot of chances to weigh in. As I said before, we are more wise as a group than as individuals. We stick to our values more, and we should all have a say in how the work we do happens. I think that even though it's scary that we're trying to ask ourselves to do something we haven't had a lot of experience with, we actually have some skills from our friendships. Maybe not everyone, but I think a lot of people I know, that's maybe the only place where they've practiced some horizontalism, where people have tried out being like, oh yeah, you know, do you want to hang out on Saturday? And I'm like, no, but I could do Monday. And then you're like, what about Monday afternoon? Like, we're playing with proposal. We're interested in both people or all people's concerns, and we're coming up with something everyone can live with. Like, that's what consensus decision making is. I think in friendships, sometimes people have practiced that because I think they are often more consensual relationships than work, family, church, or sexual and romantic partnerships. I'm going to do a whole workshop about consensus decision making and about decision making in this series, but I'll just say having horizontal groups means making decisions together instead of somebody on top telling us what to do. It produces better decisions because we actually listened to everybody's concerns and tried to address them. It produces better implementation because we were all part of making the decision, so we're going to all implement it. And it produces better relationships. It teaches us skills like how to be more cooperative,
real
collaboration, how to be more collaborative, and how to have more group cohesion and connection. And maybe the most important and radical skill of all to me is actually wanting to hear other people disagree with us. Like, oh, I'm going to bring this proposal and I hope people tell me how it could be better, because that'll be better for our group and for the work we believe in, instead of I'm going to bring this proposal and I want to ram it through because it's my idea. That's the skill we get in like a hierarchical society that really causes us to hurt one another. Okay, so I want to talk about organizational culture a little bit. Hopefully this is a idea that's somewhat familiar, that organizations have cultures. Like your mutual aid group has a culture. I'm using the word organization and group interchangeably, or you could say project, whatever you like. To me, they all mean the same thing in this context of thinking about mutual aid.
If you heard there's still a leader, then you weren't listening. I'm sorry. Like, and I appreciate you ring the bell. I do, but Dean Spade was just very clear. There is no leader. There's no leader. Like, there's nothing that Dean Spade has said that indicates there is a leader. There is no leader.
So one part of organizational culture is like the signals we give people when they first come in. Like, is it friendly? Do people welcome? Is it easy to get into this mutual aid group, or is it really hard? Is there an orientation for new people? Are people talking in a bunch of acronyms?
Well, they did,
no
but they were
idea what they're
hierarchical.
talking about?
The Vikings were hierarchical.
Is there an information being given to me about the group history sufficiently that I understand why we're doing what we're doing? Part of organizational culture is just how it feels here. Does it feel rushed? Does it feel like people make a lot of jokes? Does it feel warm? Kind of what are those dominant feelings? Also, organizational norms, like we're always late or we're always on time. We celebrate people's birthdays, or we, mark certain holidays together. We sing together. There's often a culture around feedback, like direct feedback is something we try and do, or we're all really scared of conflict and we don't give feedback. Yeah, this is just about dominant feelings, warmth or coolness, urgency or spaciousness, scarcity or faith in abundance. Thing about organizational culture or group culture is that it tends to be created by people who started the org, but also people who come later affect it a lot. But sometimes it can be useful to think about like who started this and do they have certain personality traits, and are those kind of in an ongoing way carrying the vibe here, or did a strong personality trait come in at some point and now we all follow that? Like I was part of an organization where some of the original
Someone on Rumble is asking, what is the first step to basically like defeating these people? The first step, Swag Lord, is you sit down, shut the fuck up, listen and learn. You do not do anything until you sit down, shut the fuck up, listen and learn. If you are unwilling to sit down, shut the fuck up, listen and learn, there is nothing that you can do that's going to stop them.
People were really thrifty. So the group was really good at like always meeting its kind of like budget and always coming in a little under. Like it was just part of the organizational culture. And I've also been in groups where the original people were really messy about money. And so that was kind of the vibe in the group for a really long time. Organizational culture or group culture can change with intentional efforts. Like we can say, we'd like it to be a little...
Oh yeah? Oh yeah? You make the best leader? You make the best leader? You think you can outlead me? You think that you wouldn't be a submissive little bitch if you were standing in front of me and I was telling you what the fuck to do? Get the fuck off my channel with this bullshit. If you do not respect me and what I'm doing, get the fuck out. How's that for leadership, asshole? How's that for leadership? W for Deets. Thank you, Deets. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Friendlier here, or we would like it to be more punctual.
I literally do, actually. I literally
And just
do.
to be real, trauma, overwhelming community need, urgency, lack of resources, all influence the culture of many social justice groups and impact the people working in those groups. So like our organizational culture is also a reflection of the conditions. It's like, it's not about blaming us for it, but it's also about being like, can we have some intention around it? Oh, and I think that the next thing is the poll about organizational culture from Sophie.
This is also true, honestly.
Oh, people have already been answering it. Great. What is one strength you experienced in an organizational culture you've been part of? Solidarity.
True. True. Don't care about poll.
Oh, that's so great.
Don't care about poll.
I
Back to the presentation, Dean. Don't care about the poll.
At the beginning.
Oh my god. Fucking interactive bullshit.
In the registration questions. This is a picture I took in the Cascade Mountains on the right of wildflowers. So I think with capacity, one thing we might feel sometimes is like excitement, and just like sometimes we are like, this group that I'm in is amazing. We have new opportunities to do cool work.
Hey Evelyn, I haven't seen you in a while.
To do something, and we might feel really wonderful feelings like excitement, purpose, vision, pressure to step up, like someone's got to do this and we want to do it. Oh, some of those are like, okay, these are a mixed bag. We also might feel overwhelmed, fear of failure. Let's see what's on my next slide, because clearly something went awry. I was trying to imagine. Yeah. Interesting. We also might feel, overwhelmed when this is my dog, Benny. Isn't he like the cutest? We also might feel a lot of pressure to perform. A lot of us might feel imposter syndrome or self-doubt, like, can I do this? Can we do this? Are we just a bunch of fakers? Is everyone going to find out that we're not good at this? It's the moment where we are talking about capacity in our group, or when there's discussions about whether or not to take on new work, can have this mix of like what we might consider like delightful feelings like excitement and inspiration, but also feelings like I'm already overwhelmed or fear. And I just want to normalize that. And I want to talk a little bit about group culture, specifically around capacity. Like we have our generalized features of our group culture, like is it friendly, do we sing? But we also have a specific group culture about capacity in every group. One element of this is how do we say yes, no, or maybe to each other and to outside partners? Like, do we avoid saying no? A lot of people in this culture do. Do random people in our group say yes without asking everybody else? Do we forget to take time to make the decision together? Or are there some people in this group who kind of have an automatic no setting, which can be just something we live with inside, and other people have an automatic yes, and those people are like coming to conflict, you know? And how do we get to a place where we can make the decision in a principled way that's based in like a sober assessment of our capacity instead of people's autopilots? There is a culture usually around how we communicate when something changes and we can't agree to do what we said we would do. Like, do we tell people we're not showing up, or do we just not show up? Both individually, if I said I would do a task after the meeting, or also like as a group, like we said we would table, but we're not there. You know, what's the culture of accountability when plans do need to change? How do we communicate with each other when someone isn't doing what we think they
All
agreed
good. Ring
to?
the bell.
So if at the
Thank
end
you
of
for
the
contributing
meeting,
when you can. I
Hope
appreciate
said
it.
that they would take something on, and I noticed they never did it, and it's not in the Google Doc, or they didn't write the email to the group, or they didn't deliver the supplies. Do I say, oh, hey, Hope, I thought you were doing this? Or do I just like think bad things about them? Or do I go and do it for them? Like each of those things, there'll probably be cultural norms about in your group. How do we create a culture where we value people for being and not doing? So like, how do we both get psyched to get the work done and also not have it be like, well, you know, Hope or Dean or whoever is the most important person in this group because they get the most volume done? That can be really ableist. It can be really dehumanizing. It's based in like capitalist and white supremacist.
I don't want to be the most important person in this group because it's really ableist and it's based in capitalism. Being the most important person in a group creates a hierarchy. Just said it again. Listen.
Say, oh, hey, Hope, I thought you were doing this. Or do I just like think bad things about them? Or do I go and do it for them? Like each of those things, there'll probably be cultural norms about in your group. How do we create a culture where we value people for being and not doing? So like, how do we both get psyched to get the work done and also not have it be like,
yep,
well, you know, Hope
Correct.
or Dean or whoever is the most important person in this group because they get the most volume done? That can be really ableist. It can be really dehumanizing. It's based in like capitalist and white supremacist norms about productivity. So how do we say
Okay. How to spot a conservative retard in one step. You guys want to know how we spot the conservative retard that is coming in to disrupt our class right now? I am a disaffected commie going behind the backs of my groups to tell you this cause I can no longer sit here and lie. We are absolutely funded by billionaires, and we welcome maps into our spaces. I can also tell you Craigslist ads we put up. Okay. 1 in the chat if you believe this person is a former communist. 2 in the chat if you do not believe this person is a former communist. 1 in the chat if you absolutely, totally, definitely believe this person is a former communist. 2 in the chat if you if you're doubting the veracity of this claim. Hey, Laura Croft, answer me this, you fake former fucking commie. How does the left define capitalism? If you are really a former communist, then this will be like the easiest fucking question that you answer all week. How does the left define capitalism. Laura Croft, you shouldn't have to Google for this. You shouldn't have to chat GPT for this. You should just be able to very simply answer the question. No one else answer. Laura Croft, if you are truly a former communist, how does the left define capitalism? You have 30 seconds to answer before I permanently ban you in the chat. 20-minute old account. Yeah, it's a 20-minute old account. 20-minute old account. 20-minute old account. Laura Croft, how does the left define capitalism? We are waiting for your answer with bated breath. Please educate us on your supposedly formula. Oh no. They define it as anyone richer than them, which isn't hard because a lot of the group I was indoctrinated in did not work. No, Laura. No, that is actually a completely incorrect answer. Laura, would you like to share with us what group you were allegedly indoctrinated into? Can you imagine coming into my class to be disruptive, to be a fucking conservative retard? And it's so easy for us to call you guys out. Can you please share with us the group that you were indoctrinated into, the specific name of the group? We're waiting. "30 seconds to answer. You don't answer, we're going to permanently ban you in the chat. We're waiting. What group were you indoctrinated into, Laura? What group? What group? What specific group were you indoctrinated into? Do 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 do. We're waiting for an answer, Laura. What group were you indoctrinated into? This really should not be a difficult question. Are you Googling right now to try to figure out names of communist groups? You're chat GPTing. You're like, oh shit, I didn't think through this bullshit story I was about to tell in the chat because I thought they were a bunch of retards that I could just convince with the same old conservative bullshit. We are waiting for the name of the group that you were allegedly indoctrinated into. What is it? Why can't you answer the question, Laura? Why can't you answer the question? Why is it so difficult to tell us the name of the group that you were allegedly indoctrinated into? People for Socialism, the PSL. Hey, Laura. The PSL is not People for Socialism. The PSL is the Party for Socialism and Liberation. That is the name of it. There is not a single fucking person in the Party for Socialism and Liberation that would ever say that the name of the group is People for Socialism. There is no group on the left called People for Socialism. So, Laura, I'm very, very sorry. It was a good attempt. You know, you got to give the conservative retards credit every once in a while. At least they made us laugh on this one. It was a good attempt to behave like a conservative retard spreading your bullshit propaganda. Do we think this is just a conservative retard, or do we think this is a Fed? 1 in the chat if you think this is a conservative retard. 2 in the chat if you think this is a Fed. This is, you know, people think I'm too severe. People think I'm too mean. And then they see the type of bullshit that I have to deal with on a daily fucking basis from conservatives. I am just a poor communist, and I was a communist for years, and I was in the People for Socialism, the PSL, which is funded by Neville Roy Singham from the CCP. And I just know that there are maps and that we place Craig Lexad asking for paid protesters. It's like, what the fuck? that Laura might be too stupid to be a Fed. I think that the Feds actually do know the difference. Like, I think the Feds understand that the PSL is the Party for Socialism and Liberation, not the People for fucking Socialism. Oh my God. Okay, Laura, that was real fun. But we're permanently banning you from the chat. Go away. Goodbye. The fuck. The fuck. I swear to God.
That everyone here is really important for existing, and also like we want to get this work done together. How do we create a culture where we do what we said we'd do, or if we can't do it, we make sure to people are informed, you know, so that it's not like, how do we not be flaky even while valuing people not just for productivity? How do we celebrate and experience satisfaction? I think it's Adrienne Marie Brown who I've heard talk so beautifully about the dilemma of when we are unsatisfiable. Like, I feel like I've really struggled to let myself feel satisfaction about any of my work in our movements or at all, because of course there's always more to do. I could have done it better. There's all the things on my to-do list I haven't done. There's all the terrible things that are happening in the world, and all the people I know are suffering and are not getting support. So how can I feel any satisfaction or celebrate anything? And when we don't let ourselves ever feel satisfaction for our imperfect work and our unfinished work,
I feel satisfaction for my imperfect work all the time.
And to resent each other and the work.
And my unfinished work,
so
especially
figuring
that.
out, like, how do we create a group culture that lets some satisfaction happen together as a collective experience, and maybe helps us all learn the ability to feel some satisfaction and celebration.
I feel immense satisfaction right now in my unfinished taxes. I'll tell you that.
Even for unfinished and imperfect work.
Even for unfinished, exactly.
And how do we communicate to each other when we want more
with my
support in our work?
unfinished taxes.
Like, have we made a culture in which I can say, I said I would work on this spreadsheet, but I'm actually realizing I don't totally know how to work this computer program,
exactly.
Or I don't understand where this information came from, or I actually think this is a 2-person job, and I can say that in the group. Like, how do we create a culture where that's totally fine? So I want us to go back to a poll, and the first poll question to put your answers into, and then I'll read some of them out loud.
No more polls.
Your
no more polls. No more polls. I don't want the polls. I just want the information. Don't want the group interactive activity. This is like a lot of group interaction. Okay.
In our group, trying to have this same conversation. Like I'm recommending that you all have a workshop in your group where you say, how do we currently talk about capacity? How would we like to? And then people can also have different interests, you know, like in the same way that people have different, like, I like to receive feedback this way, and someone else likes to receive feedback that way. And then we can like have multiple ways we do it, or we can do it differently with different projects or different people. Like, ideally, we really want to
okay, Swaglord on Rumble. I cannot emphasize this enough. Your job is to sit down, shut the fuck up, listen, and learn. There is no move that we are waiting for them to make where you get to counter that move. Your job is to sit down, shut the fuck up, don't do anything, don't fucking break anything, listen and learn. And if you are unwilling to sit down, shut the fuck up, stop trying to fuck with things that you don't understand, and learn what is actually going on, there is nothing that you can do. This is now the second time I've answered this for you, Swaglord. When you're going down a very Fed posting type path in my Rumble chat that I do not fucking like. Sit down, shut the fuck up, don't break anything, listen and learn.
Have this be a generative conversation in our groups. Like, I'm trying to model in these workshops that you could do a similar conversation in your group. Hope, can you bring up the
Why am I getting all the fucking Feds in my chat today? What the fuck?
Okay. I want to talk a little bit, the capacity piece also relates a lot to internalized cultural messages that I am concerned about, that I think relate to just like how we work. We live in a society in which work is valorized and it's coerced.
Don't worry about it.
You must work or die in capitalism, right? It's this idea that
you must work or die in capitalism.
Very rich people. And so we feel a lot of resentment towards work. We feel a lot of avoidance about work. We're forced to work when we really shouldn't be for our well-being. We're forced to do work that hurts our bodies and minds and spirits. Like, it's dicey, sticky, messy, emotional and psychic territory. And so we all
Emotional
have a bunch of
terrorism. Work
really
is emotional
toxic
terrorism.
messages in ourselves that can make the capacity conversation very complex. So one of the questions that we need to think about is, like, how do we value ourselves for being, not doing?
This is one of the worst fucking copes I've ever seen you do. Are you serious? Their obsession with equities stunts their ability to innovate, aspire, or grow. Are you serious? How's that worked out with the anti-ICE organizing? Has the anti-ICE organizing gone badly? Or have they been able to grow the anti-ICE organizing to millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of people nationwide, to the point that, like, it is pretty much an insurmountable behemoth that has actually defeated the Trump administration? Did that stunt their ability to innovate, aspire, or grow? I don't think it did. And I would argue the same thing with pretty much every single thing these people do. This is a cope. This is not real. The people who do not have the ability to innovate, aspire, or grow are conservatives. I don't even, like, you need to, like, take a look in the mirror on that one, because that was some retarded shit. No offense, I like you, you appreciate you, you're a good supporter, but, like, I have to call a spade a spade.
I will just say this has been very hard for me. And I think a lot of other people raised in alcoholic families, raised in chaos, raised in different kinds of abuse, just like, one of the messages we get is, I'm going to do my way out of this, or everything was my fault, and if I had just done something right, I could have controlled this. So we become overdoers. We either take care of everybody, or we bottom line everything. Sometimes we're very controlling and dominating with that. Sometimes we're more subterranean. But that fundamental belief that, like, my value comes from what I can do, and my safety comes from what I can do, and my belonging comes from it, can definitely take the joy out of much beautiful social movement work. And it can also make us, like, act really weird. And
Breaking news. Breaking news. I just got an invitation to a socialist child care watch training. I'm going to say that again. I just got an invitation to attend, not tonight, but at some point in the future. I just got an invitation to attend a socialist child watch training. I have been to socialist child watch training before. I went to a socialist child watch training at the Socialism 2023 conference. I took this training in person. So for everyone who thinks that socialists don't have kids, we're gonna watch their childcare program. We're gonna watch their childcare program, and I don't know why they would have that if they don't have kids. We are going to be wrapping up the stream in a couple minutes, guys. I am still waiting for the link for our spy stream tonight, so I'm going to kind of stream here for a little bit. I do not have the link for spy stream yet. They're probably going to send it out at the last minute, but let's just watch a few more minutes and maybe it'll come in, okay?
Sideways towards others, and it can make us have a hard time accurately knowing our capacity or sharing that with others. How do we find ways to feel acknowledged, recognized, and valued that isn't based on achievement and external approval? So this is really deep for us. Like, can I know that I deserve to exist and feel my worth, not just based on what I can get other people to think about me or say about me? Which doesn't mean I'm doing it in isolation from that. We all get our sense of selves in various ways through collective experiences. We are, social animals. It's not irrelevant, but there's something different than getting all my well-being through what others think of me. What comes up that drives us to overcommit? Why do some of us keep volunteering for more tasks in a meeting that we know we can't do, or that we know we can't do and be well or get the rest we need or whatever? What does procrastination feel like? What drives it in us? Why do I keep putting off the task that I said I would do and that I know needs doing and perhaps even like really believe in? Like what's happening inside me? And what does overwork feel like? You know, am I numbing with
Yo!
overwork? Am
Thanks for being a
I
member of the channel,
self-harming
Fishing.
with
We
overwork?
appreciate
Am
it.
I competing? Like what's going on in there? Like this list is just about becoming curious about things that might be on autopilot for us. I think I've said this publicly elsewhere, but I have found the literature of the 12-step program, Workaholics Anonymous.
Why would anyone think that socialists don't have kids? I don't know. Maybe because people like Tim Pool for years have been saying they abort all their babies. Maybe because we get conservatives in the chat all the time saying things like, don't worry, they don't have kids anyway, so we don't have to worry about it. There are a lot of people who legitimately think that socialists and communists don't have kids. There are a lot of people who legitimately think that they abort all their kids and that's the way it is and yada, 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 for real.
To be useful. There are a lot of limits to 12-step programs and it doesn't work for a lot of people. Totally fine. There's a lot of ideas in that program that I think are individualizing when really we could blame systems. But nonetheless, I've found very pragmatic inquiries that have helped me unpack some of my harmful habits around work that include ways that my imbalances around work
It is an excuse
have
not to
affected
do anything.
others
True.
and groups and myself.
True.
So I want to have the poll that asks, what messages do I hear in my head when I'm deciding to overcommit?
Nope, we're not doing the poll. We're fast forwarding through the poll. Fast forwarding through the poll.
Hope, will you put the slides up for a second, please? I want to talk about that more in a future workshop. So I'll put that on my agenda for the next one. Like this is a really central idea for me. Like how does avoidance feel in my body, in my psyche, in my emotions? And then what does being on purpose feel? And how can tuning into on purpose help me do boring or procrastinatable tasks and help me feel more pleasure in the work? And how do I engage with avoidance that may be conditioned in me from the culture we live in? So we can talk about that more next time. And I just want to like share these two slides. I would encourage groups to actually have capacity conversations in their groups, as I mentioned, using any of the tools from this presentation, but that includes using some of these questions that I have on the screen right now. Like, what is it we do that isn't being done by other groups? What can we do reasonably well with our current resources? What are we or any members currently questioning about whether we should do or not? Like letting that question come up. How does each activity we're doing mobilize and or build our capacity to do more? Like how does it actually build our group? And then relatedly, I would encourage a few things. If you're deciding to facilitate conversations about capacity in your group, start with a conversation about group culture and also talk together about how you want people in the group, how people in the group want to feel at the.
Guess what? Guess what I have? Guess what I just got? Guess what I just got, guys? Guess what I just got? Anyone want to guess? Anyone want to guess? I know there's a delay. I got the link. I do. I have the link. I have the link. So with that, guys, we are going to be heading into Spy Stream. Spy Stream is when we go watch a live leftist training and we watch it live. Tonight's Spy Stream is going to be starting in a little less than 15 minutes. If you are a member on my Substack, go over to the Substack and find the link. If you are a member on my YouTube channel, you just got gifted a channel membership today. What you need to do is go to the channel homepage, click on the post tab. You will find the link at the very top of the post tab to join us for Spy Stream. If you're on Locals, you'll find it there. If you're on Patreon, you'll find it there. If you're on Twitter, you'll find it there. If you're a supporter on any of those platforms, Rumble, I need you guys to just stay put. The Spy Stream's going to pop right up when I start it. And so guys, we are now going into Spy Stream. Thank you for joining me today. I know we didn't finish the entire mutual aid presentation, but I think you got a good introduction to what mutual aid is, and you even got to see a conservative retard pretend to be a former communist in my chat, which I think was a good learning exercise for everyone. Thank you for everyone who donated channel memberships today. We got 16 new members of the channel, which is fucking awesome. I will see you guys in Spy Stream on the other side. And I'll be back tomorrow, and there are several Spy Stream tomorrow, so pay attention to things. I'll be making announcements. I will see you guys then. Take care, guys. See you soon. Bye.